Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers, and today we'll be discussing the 2024 Los Angeles Charger team needs as we wrap up free agency in a sense and look forward to the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the LA Chargers and what else they could do to improve their team heading into the upcoming 2024 NFL season. But I can't do it alone. As you all know, I have to bring on the very talented writer and now on-air product, Mr. William Yanish III. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Good. Glad to hear, man. Well, let's get right into it. I'll give you the ball first. What do you think the Chargers need to improve on, or what do they need to bring in to succeed out there in the AFC West?
Oh man, well, they have to keep up with everything else going on there, Andy Reid, and whatever's going on in Oakland, and they've got, now they've got Jim Harbaugh as a head coach. They've got 9 picks. Number 5 overall, you're going to get one of the top players because it's likely, 3 or 4 quarterbacks going in a row. So, you're definitely going to get one of the best players in the draft. Like I said, new head coach. They had a lot of turnover and free agency. 12 unrestricted free agents, a bunch of others. They re-signed Dicker, the kicker, and what they have, and they still have to figure out, who their running back is going to be. There's definitely not one worth taking at 5 in this year's draft. Because they let Austin Eckler go, leave to Washington. They traded off Keenan Allen to Chicago. Mike Williams left to the Jets. They drafted Quentin Johnson last year. He definitely not one of my favorite draft picks last year, but they signed Gus Edwards. They signed a couple of tight ends, Hayden Hurst and Will Disley, but those guys definitely aren't superstars by any means. At 5, what I would say, Harbaugh's an old school, NFL kind of guy who's likely to build up through the trenches, and doing that kind of thing. But I say get, Justin Herbert some help, at number 5, the truly only generational tight end or draft pick in this draft, and that's Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia, and that if I were the Chargers, that's who I would draft. But they have to make up their mind on a lot of things. They've got a backup quarterback they like. Other than that, they've got like 9 draft picks. 3 in the top 70. You can definitely build out of that. What do you think, man?
Yeah, so when I look at the Chargers, I think they need to get Harbaugh a home. He's been living in his RV since he became the coach, I saw. So get him a house so he can rest comfortably heading into the season. But yeah, this is a team who, honestly, man, I thought this team was going to break out last year before, but they just can't get over the hump. Tons of potential, as we know. Obviously, they've got Justin Herbert, who is a solid quarterback who brings it every single week and has been banged up a little bit, but he's doing his best to keep things rolling. Obviously, get him some help on the O-line. That's always a big one. You can never have too many offensive linemen to help protect your quarterback. That's for sure. That you can get some pieces on defense. You've got 2 of the top talents on defense on your team, but yet your defense still needs help. When you've got Bosa and you've got Khalil Mack, this team frustrates me, man. And I say that just because they have all of this potential to take it far, I think, in the NFL playoffs, and that's why they went out and hired Harbaugh, because they're just trying to figure something out. Obviously, as you mentioned, need some running backs. You need someone to run the ball because Austin Eckler is out of there. You need someone else to carry the rock and to help out. Like I said, O-line was beat up last year. I think that's their big need. They need some help on the offensive line because, as we've seen, you're not going to win many games. You're not going to go far if your quarterback is hurt, your quarterback is beat up, and if your O-line also is beat up. So shore up that O-line. I would go, early rounds, couple picks for the O-line, just to see what sticks. Obviously, you need to get a running back, and running backs are falling later and later in the draft, so you can wait a little bit if you need to, I think. Then you can also shore up your defense. You know what I mean? You can really help out your defense, help out your cornerback position. You also get a little bit of work on the wide receiver as well because, like I said, Keenan Allen was gone. He's gone. Mike Williams, he's out of there. He ain't got a whole lot on the wide receiver room in terms of, I would say, A+ talent when you look at the team. So you need some help there. Linebacker as well. You got rid of Eric Kendricks. You lost Kenneth Murray. You're hoping Denzel Perriman can do some good work for him. So there's a lot, and also too, they need some work at corner because you're only bringing back Asante Samuel Jr. He's your only starter from last year at corner coming back. So I would say shore up the sidelines, get some help at corner, get some help at wide receiver. Obviously, you got to look, I think, running back too. And your O-line, you really need to help out. So I think that, that's just how it is. And like you mentioned, they've got Gus Edwards, who's a solid back. But I think I don't know if he would be starter quality. It kind of remains to be seen. We'll see how much of a load he gets this year. You got Hayden Hurst, who's a reliable tight end. Will Disley as well. Bradley Boseman at your center. Perriman at your your linebacker. But yeah, I think that all in all that the Chargers have some holes they need to plug. On the line, on the corner routes, on the wide receiving room. It's not all perfect weather out there in Los Angeles. So it's interesting because I think that for all the teams in the NFL draft to have a high pick, and the Chargers do at number 5, this is, I believe, crucial that they knock this out of the park, William, that they do good with this under the new regime, under the guise of a very talented coach. And also, let's not forget the fact that could potentially play a role. Your top 2 star players on defense took pay cuts. They restructured their contracts, did Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, so that they could go out there, sign some talent, and get some big names in the draft and pay them money to produce. So my final thoughts on the Chargers is they need to have one of the better draft classes if they want to see success in the AFC West, because when you look at that division as a whole, obviously we know the top dog is the Kansas City Chiefs coming off of a Super Bowl win. The Raiders have made additions as well to their games. The Broncos are trending in backwards, it feels like. They're going in the wrong direction. But the Chargers are in that middle ground, I would say, to, depending on how they draft and how this season goes, that's going to tell me if they're going to be 1A and 1B with Kansas City, or if they're going to be towards the bottom with Denver. So it remains to be seen. But what are your final thoughts on the Chargers and what they need to do going forward with this team?
Well, like I said, I had knocked this out of the park, circled here. I was actually going to say that with this draft. And that is 100%. How many more chances? Harbaugh is going to have in the NFL. Yeah. This is a chance to actually do something, and they need to get it handled, and I believe they will. I believe that they definitely have that.
Yes, sir.
They'll be looking up instead of down. And that's an excellent thing after all the years they've spent in, kind of purgatory. So.
we will see what they do. But William, man, it's been a pleasure talking some ball with you, talking about the Chargers and what they can do to succeed in 2024. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe on our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube. And also go and check out our podcast each and every single week. For Mr. William Yanish, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, enjoy your week.